So we're at war again. I'm not that stoked about it. No, I mean, I'm not stoked at all about it. I mean, I'm processing because I've been frustrated with a lot of the foreign policy of the current administration, but I did think we would avoid this scenario. I was in the Army. I was an infantry officer, did 4 years of military college, then 4 years in the military. I deployed to Kuwait and Afghanistan during my time. I did some other stuff too, which I can talk about. But the point is, I care about this a lot because not only do parts of it like really hit home for me personally, which I'll get into, but I actively have friends in these areas. I deeply care about our service members and the rule of law. And I also care about the United States as ostensibly a beacon on a hill, for all of our issues, which we have many. There are worse places to be than the US, and that's directly a function of a bunch of different people mostly working together to try to build a society. We're 4 days in, 6 Americans are dead. I personally think that there are more, and they're slow rolling the count of what they announce. I hope I'm wrong, but that's what I think is happening right now. We won't know until the investigations upon investigations happen, probably after this all shakes out. But based on everything that I've seen, I suspect we're very much in a let's not share what's actually happening type scenario. If there's operational reasons to do that before anyone gets in the comments, which I understand. But I do think that there are right and wrong ways to do it. The first real news conference about it yesterday with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and General Kane, via my grad as well, by the way. That's honestly a great example of the right and wrong ways to go about it. Hegseth comes across as evasive, unprofessional, and frankly pretty hostile to a press corps that he personally installed because, if you aren't aware, they removed all non-alt-right news publications from the Pentagon Corps, which by itself is an insane thing to do for a nation that pretends to have a free press. And so the fact that he's hostile to them is fascinating because they're asking pretty softball questions like, what are the goals for the war? Or how long do you think it might last? They actually closed the press conference with asking, what's your prayer for the service members? And it's just like, have whatever religion you want to have, but there's a lot more important questions to ask than that. Contrast that with General Kane, who's frankly acting like a general. I personally disagree with a lot of his views, but I mean, that's not unreasonable for a career military officer versus a junior officer that gets out pretty early in their career. He immediately references the service members that passed away, thanks them for their sacrifice, and conveys the things I believe you're supposed to convey in a situation like this, which is very serious. He proceeds to answer the questions as professionally as I would expect a chairman of the Joint Chiefs in charge of like an ongoing start of a war. And it's just like seeing the two dudes next to each other really brings home how fundamentally unserious I think this administration is about very serious things. I track military operations like this pretty closely. You could call it a special interest of mine. And I've been watching these places that I deployed to, which were at the time considered safe deployments, be missiled. Camp Buring, Ali Salim. I was almost assigned, I think, to the exact Tactical Operations Command that just got blown up by an Iranian missile at Port Shuaibah. And it's just so dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. You can argue against like having standing bases in the Middle East in general, and I respect a lot of those discussions. Taking the region's chessboard, flipping it over without a plan for what happens next, and without articulating those reasons to the American people, it boggles the mind. That's not what this is about, but it is a little bit of a harbinger of what we probably can expect to see over the next few weeks, which is a situation that's going to get increasingly harder to control. We don't know how this shakes out because we have obliterated the leadership structure in Iran, but all of the entities that the leadership structure used to command are now kind of, as far as I can tell, in like a free fire, hey, we're just going to shoot things off kind of mode. They're probably following some semblance of like a dead man switch plan, but the longer this goes on, the less predictable the outcomes are going to be. Fatwas are being issued against the United States. Various sects of Shia Muslims across the Middle East and probably across the world are getting really spun up that their religious figureheads are getting assassinated, and the chaos around the various American embassies in Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq. There's going to be more of that once these various groups of people that are very frustrated about what's happening right now get kind of like their mobilization act together. It's the same pattern that our service members dealt with in the various countries we tried to nation build in over the past 25 years. The math, the people, and the region hasn't fundamentally changed in that respect. So the thing I'm trying to wrestle with this week is, what do I do about it? I'm a YouTuber with no subscribers. I'm a writer with no readers. I am a software engineer that isn't bringing any money in right now, but I have a really strong sense of civic duty. That's why I joined in the first place. I think you should give back to the society that helps support you and contribute to the social contracts that like benefit you largely in your life. That's also why I respect some people's decision to not contribute to their society, because their society has never contributed to their welfare. I get that. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try to make it better for myself and those people as well. All I know is that it's a waste. There's not a strategic direction. Check any talking head from the administration. One person's going to say something different from another. I think they're workshopping what the goals are, and whatever ends up pissing people off the least, they're just going to stick with, at least until it stops feeling achievable, and then they'll switch it to something else. I need to take care of my family. Got a new son, 6 months old, as of the other day, but I don't want him to grow up in this cowboy free-for-all environment where people pursue power just to enrich themselves. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think it might involve some software projects, maybe tracking some of this, help spread awareness, at least shine a spotlight on some of the inconsistencies that are happening right now, at least in the public messaging. Or maybe I go full bore into politics. I don't think so. As a veteran, it's very frustrating to watch the same patterns happen over and over and over again, and watch people that should know better just swallow it blindly. I'm going to try to figure out if I can help in some small way. I don't know. Hopefully I have better answers for you on Friday.